Okay, listen. Let it land. I need you to sit down for this one because what I am about to walk you through is not a David story. I want to be clear right at the jump. This is not a David story. David is in a cage. David is sitting in county wearing a wristband, eating cold trays, watching his own name turn into a courtroom exhibit. David is handled. Forget him for the next 40 minutes. Pretend he does not exist. Because the real horror, the part that should be turning your stomach, is the second crime scene that nobody is looking at. And that second crime scene is not in California, it is not in a Tesla, it is not in a trunk, it is sitting on a Discord server in a Reddit subreddit with the lights still on and the carpet still wet, and the people running it are not in jail. They are not even being questioned. They are unpaid. They are anonymous. They are typing right now. And in my honest opinion, they are the most dangerous people in this entire case. Welcome back, you guys. Let that sit. Pour something. Lock the door. Put your phone face down. Because I sat with the receipts for 2 days before I opened this microphone, and once you see what I am about to show you, you will not be able to scroll past a moderator badge the same way ever again. There is a name for what these people did. The legal world calls it accessory after the fact. The internet calls it damage control. I am going to call it what it actually is, which is a civilian cover-up operation run by volunteers who never met the victim, never met the accused, never got paid $1, and somehow still decided that the most important task of their entire week was protecting the brand of a man whose Tesla trunk had a child in it. Let that breathe for a second. Let it sit on your tongue. Because this is going to get worse before it gets clear. Here is the receipt that started everything, and I am going to read it slow because I want you to hear the cadence of a man telling on himself in real time. A moderator of David's official Discord speaking to other moderators on a leaked voice call said, and I quote, "It would be different if we had hidden it right away. It would be different if we had managed to delete the evidence before people found out." Read it again. Read it twice. Read it twice. Because what that sentence is, in plain English, is a confession that the only regret in the room was the timing of the cleanup. Not the murder. Not the child. Not the body. Not the 4 months. The timing. They were not upset that a 13-year-old was groomed inside the server they moderated. They were upset that they did not get to the delete button fast enough. That is the line. That is the whole story compressed into one breath. And every single thing I am about to show you radiates outward from that one sentence like a stain. So let me set the table for the people who just walked in. If you are new here, hi, hello, welcome, you picked a wild week to subscribe. The short version is this. I am not exaggerating. A musician we are calling David is sitting in a cell, no bail, accused of the murder of a child named Celeste, whose remains were located in the trunk of his vehicle after a stranger reported a smell. The grand jury was already moving. The DNA was already back. The prosecutors were already lining their ducks. That part of the story, the official part, is in capable hands. The part that is not in capable hands, the part nobody has a badge for, is the digital cleanup crew that has been quietly sanitizing his online footprint since the moment the police tape went up. And tonight, for the first time, we have audio. We have screenshots. We have deleted accounts. We have admissions. We have a paper trail that does not need a subpoena. Because the cleaners left the receipts on the counter. Pay attention to this detail because it is going to come back later. Every single moderator currently running the largest David critical subreddit. A subreddit literally founded on the promise of zero censorship, no narrative control, free speech for the unpopular take, joined the mod team after the arrest. Not before. After. I wish I were. Read that sentence again. The community that exists specifically to discuss David's alleged crimes is being shepherded by people who were nowhere near the keyboard until the handcuffs clicked. That is not a coincidence. That is staffing. That is a hiring round. That is a security detail walking into a building right after the fire started and asking everyone politely to stop describing the smoke. We are going to come back to this. Promise. Keep it in your back pocket. Now let me drop you into the Discord audio, because this is where my hands started shaking the first time I heard it. Picture the scene. The body has been found. The internet has just learned the victim's name. Screenshots are leaking. People are pulling up 2-year-old messages where David's own moderators were discussing the victim by name. Hold that thought. And on a private voice call, the senior moderator of the server, the one with the literal owner role next to his username, gets on the line and the first thing out of his mouth is not, "Oh my God, a child is dead." The first thing out of his mouth is, "I just spoke to David's management. They told us what to do. They told us what to do." The manager of the alleged child killer is calling shots in a Discord room full of teenagers with mod permissions. And they are nodding along like interns on their first day. They are taking notes. They are following a media playbook drafted by the legal team of a man being held without bail. And these are not employees. These are not contractors. These are not signed talent. These are kids who liked his music 3 years ago and clicked a verification button. Mark this moment. That is the chain of command. That is who is steering the narrative right now. Gets worse. Of course it gets worse. The moderator on the call then explains with the calm of a man reading a grocery list that closing the server entirely would look suspicious, so the orders from management are, quote, just leave it open, we don't want to look like we're hiding anything. Now hear what that actually means. They are not leaving the server open because they have integrity. They are not leaving it open because they value transparency. They are leaving it open because the cat is already out of the bag, and a panic shutdown would be more incriminating than a strategic stall. That is not honesty. That is a hostage negotiation. That is a poker player with a bad hand who decides the safest move is to keep smiling and let the clock run. And every second that server stays online with the text chat locked, the screenshots get older, the memories get fuzzier, the witnesses move on, and the official narrative, in the words of someone smarter than me, hardens into concrete. Let me show you the second receipt because this one is colder. Same call. Different moderator. That is the receipt. He says, and I will read it carefully so you catch every syllable. If only Lamp and Engels hadn't done what they did, we could have just shut it down right away. Translation. 2 specific users by name leaked the internal screenshots before the cleanup team could finish wiping. That is the only complaint. The only grievance. The only emotional spike in a recorded conversation about a murdered child is anger at the whistleblowers for moving faster than the janitors. Do you understand what you are listening to? You are listening to people who are mad at the witnesses. You are listening to a room full of strangers who, when handed the option of decency or obedience, picked obedience and then complained when decency interrupted the schedule. I have replayed that clip 9 times and it does not get easier. It only gets uglier. And before anyone in the comments tries to be smart and says, well, maybe they didn't know what they were defending, let me close that door right now. The Discord they were moderating, the one they were so eager to scrub, was the same Discord where the victim's name had been mentioned in old messages 2 years deep. The same Discord where minors were being invited in by a man twice their age. The same Discord where flare tags asked you to label yourself as over or under 18, in a server run by an adult musician with a documented pattern of targeting young fans. They knew. That is the tell. They had been swimming in it for months. They had moderation logs. They had reports. They had the receipts in their own dashboards. And when the building caught fire, their first instinct was not to call the fire department. It was to ask the arsonist what story they wanted printed in the morning paper. Okay, breathe with me. We are pivoting. Because the Discord is only half of the operation, and honestly I think it is the smaller half. The bigger battlefield, the one that is going to decide how a jury pool thinks about this man in 9 months, is Reddit. Specifically, a subreddit called David Idiots, which was launched as the dissident space, the unfiltered alternative, the place where you were finally allowed to call him what he is without the bigger official subreddit deleting your post for being too harsh. That was the pitch. That was the bumper sticker. Tired of being silenced? Post here. Tired of mods running interference? Post here. That is the pattern. We don't think anyone is too smart or too dumb to be heard. We care about Celeste. We are disturbed by what happened. That was the founding mission statement. That was the welcome mat. Now read what it says today, because today if you walk in there and ask a single sharp question, your post is gone before the coffee finishes brewing. The subreddit that was built as a free speech rescue mission has been quietly, surgically, methodically converted into a David PR office. And nobody told the users. Let me give you the smoking gun. A Redditor, just a regular user, no clout, no agenda, opens a thread and asks one question. 1. He asks, did David's team or his brother's team buy this subreddit? Yes or no? That is the entire post. A yes or no question. The post is removed within minutes. Believe your eyes. The reason listed by the moderation team is, and I am not making this up, this question is not allowed. Sit with that. The community whose founding charter promised unconventional takes, no censorship, no narrative control, will not allow you to ask if the community has been sold. That is the cleanest tell in the entire investigation. That is a tell a 5-year-old could read. When the watchman refuses to confirm whether he is still the watchman, the answer is already in the question. It gets sharper. Another user posts a thread titled, "Shout out to that journalist for exposing this sub." Removed. Another posts a video critique of the subreddit's behavior. 80 minutes long, dense with screenshots, dense with evidence. The post is classified as low effort. 80 minutes. Low effort. Read that sentence in the mirror. A feature-length forensic breakdown is being labeled low effort by people whose job is approving cat memes. The screenshot does not lie. And when pressed, the moderator who flagged it claims, oh, that was a joke. It was a joke. Sir. Madam. Whichever pronoun is hiding behind the username. A man's reputation, a girl's memory, a family's grief, a community's right to talk about an active murder case. And the most defensible answer you can offer for nuking a piece of journalism is, I was joking. That is not moderation. That is a child holding a flamethrower and pretending it is a cigarette lighter. And here is where the pattern becomes architecture. Because once you know what to look for, you can see it everywhere. Posts about David's brother, who happens to be a musician now trying to launch a rap career on the back of his siblings' arrest, are getting flagged for being repetitive. The mods decided on their own with no community vote that the brother is off limits. Discussions of the brother possibly running sock accounts inside the subreddit, gone. Discussions of the brother's music dropping suspiciously close to the arrest, gone. Discussions of the family lawyer's media strategy, gone. The audio does not lie. Meanwhile, in the same subreddit on the same day by the same mod team, posts titled "The victim's family are liars," "The victim's mother is suspicious," "The victim's parents deserve to be investigated," those posts stay up. Those posts thrive. Those posts get pinned to the top of search results, where a brand new viewer, encountering the case for the first time, lands on a buffet of family-blaming content and forms an opinion before they ever learn the victim's age. That is not free speech. That is a stage set. That is set dressing. That is the difference between a forum and a film studio, and right now the studio is open for business. I want to pause and say something that needs to be said out loud because the comments are going to try and twist it. I am not here to canonize the victim's family. I am not here to claim they were perfect parents. I am not here to argue with anyone's grief or anyone's guilt. What I am here to say is that an investigation cleared them. The authorities, the same authorities the internet usually trusts when it is convenient, looked at the timeline, looked at the calls, looked at the reports and cleared them. And if you want to relitigate that, fine, but you do not get to relitigate it on a platform that simultaneously refuses to let you criticize the alleged killer's brother for releasing a sex song 2 weeks after his sibling was charged with murdering a child. You do not get to wear both hats. The metadata does not lie. You do not get to be the truth seeker and the bodyguard. Pick one. Show your hand. The internet is watching. Now let me introduce you to the first scalp because I want to name names. There is a moderator we will call Sim. Sim was one of the loudest voices on that subreddit for weeks. Sim was the one approving the Q&A from a stranger claiming to be best friends with David's brother. A stranger whose, quote, proof of friendship turned out to be that he once posted the brother's song in a Discord. That is the evidence. That is the verification. A man walks up, says, "Hi, I am close with the family of the accused. Can I do a public sympathy tour on your platform?" And Sim says, "Yes, here is the microphone, here is the spotlight, here is the comment section disabled for hostile takes." And for 48 hours that thread sat at the top of the page like a press release, with anonymous posters writing paragraphs about how sweet and misunderstood the brother is, how he smells like lavender, how he never farts, how his vocal range is amazing. I am not exaggerating those quotes. Those are real sentences a real human typed into a real comment box on a real subreddit dedicated to discussing the murder of a child. Lavender. The timestamp is the truth. Vocal range. Read the room. When I started pulling on this thread publicly, Sim came after me in a separate post. Insulted my work. Insulted my motives. Said I had run out of content. Said I was milking the case for views. And in the same breath on the same platform in plain view of every member, refused to answer a basic question, which was, please show the proof that the stranger doing the Q&A actually knows the brother. Sim posted the proof. The proof was a Discord screenshot of a man typing the brother's first name twice. That was the evidence. 2 mentions. In a public Discord, where 5,000 people also mention his name. And on that flimsy, gossamer, paper-thin verification, the moderation team greenlit a sympathy parade for the family of a man accused of dismembering a child. That is on tape. Within 24 hours of me publishing the receipts, Sim's account was deleted. Vanished. Wiped. No notice. No farewell. No accountability. Just gone. Like a witness skipping town the night before the trial. He was not the only one. Another moderator was banned by Reddit itself, allegedly for failing to moderate with integrity, allegedly for helping banned users return on alternate accounts, allegedly for running quiet little favors behind the curtain. Allegedly. I have to say allegedly a lot in this video. You will get used to it. But the pattern, the texture, the rhythm, the shape of the disappearing moderators, that pattern is not allegedly. That pattern is concrete. That is on record. 3 mods gone in a single news cycle. All 3 with admin-level powers. All 3 with the keys to the kingdom. All 3 holding the only logs that could prove what was deleted when and by whom. And every single one of those logs walked out the door with them, because Reddit does not preserve mod actions for the public after the account is gone. The audit trail in a very real sense just got dragged behind the barn. Let me hit you with the part that actually keeps me up at night. There is a Reddit-wide rule called Moderate with Integrity. It is rule number 5 in the official moderator code of conduct. Read it on the Reddit Help Center. It is right there. It is public. It explicitly prohibits moderators from taking action in exchange for compensation, gifts, favors, or, and this is the part you need to hear, on behalf of a third party. On behalf of a third party. Now stop and ask yourself, in the wake of a leaked audio call where moderators of an associated Discord literally admit they are following directions from the accused management team, what is the statistical probability that the moderators of the affiliated Reddit are operating in a perfectly clean, perfectly independent vacuum? What are the odds that one server takes orders from a publicist and the parallel forum is run by saints? Be honest with yourself. The bar in your head just moved. That is allowed. That is in the logs. That is the point of this video. I want to introduce a possibility, and I will keep it labeled as a possibility because I am not the cops and I am not in a courtroom. The possibility is this. The David Idiots subreddit may have started as a genuine grassroots free speech experiment. Maybe it was. Maybe the founders meant every word of that mission statement. But somewhere along the line, possibly through a quiet account sale, possibly through a moderator turnover, possibly through a private offer that we will probably never see in writing, the keys changed hands. And the new hands are not interested in the truth. The new hands are interested in survival. And not the community's survival. There is a precedent for this. Several years ago, a different forum tied to a different controversial figure was reportedly sold for around $10,000 to consolidate narrative control. $10,000. That is a used car. You read that right. That is not even a lawyer's retainer. If that is the going rate for buying a public conversation, then we should not be shocked, we should be embarrassed that we ever assumed the comment section was sacred. Okay, take a breath. We are halfway through. This next section is the one I want you to share. Because this is the connect the dots part. This is where you stop looking at the dots and start seeing the picture they were sketching. Let me lay the pieces side by side. The Discord moderators admit on tape that they are coordinating with the accused management team. The Reddit moderators are systematically deleting posts critical of the accused family, while preserving posts hostile to the victim's family. The accused brother is dropping music to capitalize on the spotlight, and any criticism of that move is being labeled repetitive and removed. A stranger walks onto the subreddit, gets verified with paper-thin evidence, and delivers a Q&A that reads like a publicist wrote it. Moderator accounts are evaporating the moment they are named. And the one and only question that triggers an automatic post removal in the entire forum is, did David's people buy this subreddit? You heard that right. One question, one answer required. And the silence is the answer. I want to talk about pattern recognition for a second because someone in the comments is going to call this a conspiracy theory, and I want to defuse that bomb before it goes off. A conspiracy theory requires you to invent connections that are not on the page. I am not inventing anything. I am reading. I am quoting. I am playing audio. I am screenshotting deleted posts. I am citing a public Reddit rulebook. I am pointing at a recorded call. If this is conspiracy, then so is reading the menu at a restaurant. The dots are not hidden. The dots are in 24-point font on a billboard. I am dead serious. The only conspiracy is the conspiracy of disinterest, the soft assumption that internet moderators are too unimportant to study, the lazy belief that anonymous volunteers cannot influence the trajectory of a real legal case. That assumption is how we got here. That assumption is the door these people walked through. Let me hand you the next layer because there is one piece of this that I think is going to age the worst. The accused record label. The label that signed him. The label that promoted him. The label that, according to multiple insider claims, knew about behavior years ago and chose to keep the checks moving. I will not name the label tonight because I want the lawyers on my side, but you know exactly which umbrella we are standing under. Posts about the label inside that subreddit, posts asking, hey, what did the label know? Hey, did the A&R people sit on a stack of complaints? Hey, why is there suddenly silence from the publicist who used to do weekly puff pieces? All of those posts scrubbed. Marked as AI slop. Marked as misinformation. Marked as low effort. Same playbook. Same brush. I am stone cold serious. Same hand sweeping the same dust under the same rug. If you wanted to bury the institutional question, the question of how a major label can platform a man for years while red flags accumulate in plain sight, this is exactly how you would do it. You would find the loudest forum and you would quietly install your own gardeners. Now let me throw in the chaos detail because this is the part where the story tips from disturbing into surreal. The same moderators who are running cover for the accused are also running a side operation, which is a coordinated character assassination of any journalist or content creator who covers the case independently. I have seen the talking points. They recycle. They are always the same 3 accusations, polished and re-released depending on which creator they are aiming at. Accusation 1, the creator is milking the case for money. Accusation 2, the creator is mocking the victim. Accusation 3, the creator is somehow imitating the accused as a sick inside joke. All three are reverse engineered. All three are tested in the comments first, then pushed into Reddit threads, then bounce back into the comments as if they have organic support. In my own case, the accusation is that I wear a small adhesive pimple patch on a blemish, and that the patch is somehow a coded tribute to the accused, who allegedly wears a similar patch. A skincare product. No notes. A $2 sticker you can buy at any pharmacy. They are trying to weaponize a piece of acne tape. That is how thin the deck has gotten. I did not set out to be the loudest voice on this story. I did not wake up one morning and decide to plant a flag on a child's grave. I started covering this because the case touched too many of the systems that I write about anyway: the music industry, the influencer ecosystem, the way platforms protect their assets, the way fandoms turn into militia. The deeper I dug, the more I realized that the official press was going to cover the trial, and the trial was going to cover the murder, but nobody was going to cover the second crime scene, the digital one, the one where the volunteers were burning the evidence in real time. So I picked up that beat. I picked it up because it was on the floor. And every time they delete a post, every time a moderator account vanishes, every time a Discord clip leaks, I am going to be here with the timestamp, with the screenshot, with the receipts, with my mouth open and my camera on. They can say I am milking it. They can say I am unhinged. They can say my headband is a coded message and my eyeliner is a confession. I do not care. I am keeping the record alive because when this trial begins, and a jury sits down to read the discovery, somebody needs to have preserved the parallel record of what the public conversation looked like before the publicists got their hands on it. Same energy. That somebody is going to be me. And it is going to be you every time you screenshot a post before it gets deleted. Speaking of preservation, here is a practical favor I am going to ask because the second half of this video is going to be heavy. If you see a post on any of these forums that touches the case, screenshot it. Do not just upvote it. Do not just reply. Screenshot it, save it to a folder, label it with the date. Because the half-life of the truth on these platforms is shrinking by the hour. A post that lives at the top of the page at noon can be gone by dinner. The mods are not sleeping. The mods are not eating. The mods are scrolling. The mods are deleting. And the only counter archive that survives is the one you build with your own camera roll. This is not paranoia. Same playbook. This is the new shape of citizen journalism. Welcome to the job. The pay is bad, the hours are worse, but the record matters. There is a moment, captured in a Reddit comment chain I will be putting on screen, where one of the moderators is asked point blank why the rules around mentioning the accused brother are different from the rules around mentioning the victim's family. The moderator's answer is a masterpiece of evasion. They say the discussion of the brother had become repetitive. Repetitive. As if a community discussing a brother who is dropping a sex song days after his sibling is arrested for a child's murder is the same flavor of repetitive as a Sunday morning bagel order. Meanwhile, threads accusing the victim's parents of being liars, of being negligent, of being unfit to raise a kitten, those threads are reframed as matter of opinion. Matter of opinion. The double standard is so naked it could file a permit. And when pressed, the moderator simply says, I am not obligated to answer questions about the internal operations of the mod team. Why? Why not? You volunteered for this seat. You showed up at the desk. You picked up the keys. Same hands. The first job of a public moderator is public accountability. If you cannot answer who is on your team, who voted for what, who deleted which post and why, then you are not moderating. You are concealing. There is a word for that. The word is curating. And once a forum is being curated instead of moderated, it has stopped being a community and started being a magazine. I do not have the brother's confession. I do not have a leaked DM. I do not have a smoking gun that puts him in any room he should not have been in. What I have, what we all have, is the public record. The public record says he dropped music. The public record says he showed up smiling in front of cameras at a court appearance. The public record says he is allegedly the moderator behind one of the larger pro-defendant accounts on the subreddit. Allegedly. I will keep saying allegedly. Connect the dots. But the public record also says that within hours of me pointing at a specific comment on the subreddit, written in the second person, defending him as quote talented and cool, that comment was scrubbed, the account that wrote it changed its username, and a new disclaimer appeared on the page reminding everyone that speculation about family identity is now a bannable offense. You do not draft a new rule mid-game unless someone just touched the puck. Now I want to pivot because I owe you an actual proposal. I do not believe in pointing fingers without offering a path. So here is the path. If you care about this case, the most important thing you can do is not subscribe to me. It is not even watch me. The most important thing you can do is read the primary documents yourself. Read the affidavits. Read the court filings. Read the public statements. Cross-reference the dates. The reason these moderators are working overtime is not because they think you are stupid. It is because they think you are tired. They think you will read the headline, scroll past the comments, and accept the narrative that has been gently arranged for you. Pattern recognition. Disappoint them. Be the version of yourself that they did not plan for. Read the documents. Build your own timeline. Form your own conclusions. While you are doing that, here is the second favor. If you are an attorney, if you are a former Reddit administrator, if you are a current or former employee of any platform that has hosted communities related to this case, and you have seen something inside the building that the public deserves to know, you have a tip line. Use it. I will protect your identity with my life. The cleaners are not going to clean themselves. Someone on the inside has to drop the towel. History is going to remember the names that did. History is also going to remember the names that watched, that knew, that nodded, and that kept their badge. Let me hit a third receipt. There is a leaked exchange inside the same Discord between a moderator and one of the regular users, where the user is being harassed and the moderator's advice is, quote, just close your DMs. Just close your DMs. Civic literacy. A child is dead. The server is on fire. Threats are flying. The platform is being used as a recruitment ground. And the official advice from the people in charge is, hey, just stop checking your inbox. Imagine being the moderator and watching that suggestion leave your mouth and not feeling embarrassed. Imagine being on the call when that gets said and not interrupting. That is the moral altitude we are operating at. That is the highest these people are reaching. Close DMs. As if the problem is the messages and not the membership. As if the bandage is the cure. Now let me hit the corridor that everyone is afraid to walk down. There is a chance, and I am calling it a chance because I cannot prove it on camera, but there is a real non-zero observable chance that the accused legal team is aware of every moderation decision being made on these platforms in real time, and is feeding signals into those decisions through intermediaries who are not technically on the payroll. Not employees. Welcome to the new beat. Not on a contract. Not on a tax form. Just acquaintances. Just fans. Just believers. The legal world has a name for this kind of soft influence. It is called a parasocial litigation network. I made that name up just now, but the structure is real. It is the modern version of what political campaigns used to call astroturfing. The grass is not real. The grass is being painted green. And the painters do not even know they are working for the lawn company. What that means in practice is that the future jury pool, the people who will eventually be selected to weigh the evidence and decide a verdict, are walking through a subtly engineered version of the internet right now. Every search they perform, every subreddit they land on, every Discord screenshot that has been buried, every video critique that has been flagged as low effort, every comment thread that has been quietly reshaped by a moderator who claims it was a joke, every one of those touch points is a brush stroke on the canvas the jury will later look at. Let it land. By the time the trial begins, the painting will be finished. And nobody will have signed it. That is the genius of the operation. There is no signature. There is no contract. There is no fingerprint. There is only the painting, and the painting, by sheer accumulation, will say what the cleaners want it to say. This is why I will not let go of this story. This is why, when people in the comments tell me I am milking it, I keep my foot exactly where it is. Because the trial is months away. Months. And in the months between now and then, the cleaners get a free runway. The publicists get a free runway. The mods get a free runway. The brother gets a free runway. Let that sit. The label gets a free runway. The Discord owners get a free runway. And the only counterweight, the only friction, the only drag against that machine, is people like you with screenshots and people like me with a camera. That is the entire scale model of public accountability in this case. That is it. That is the whole army. If we stop, the other side wins by default. They do not need to convince the jury. They just need to outlast the headlines. And headlines do not last. Cameras do. Receipts do. Audio does. Let me take one more pass at the Discord audio before we close. On the same leaked call, a moderator says, with the gentle calm of a man ordering room service, the people who are dropping screenshots online would not be a problem if we had managed to delete the evidence before they found it. Read it twice. Not, the people leaking evidence are heroes. Not, the people leaking evidence are the only reason the public knows the truth. The complaint is that the leakers are inconvenient. The complaint is that decency is annoying. The complaint is that whistleblowers move too fast for the janitorial schedule. If you ever wondered what the bureaucracy of evil sounds like, it sounds like that sentence. It is not screaming. It is not theatrical. It is not foaming at the mouth. It is calm. It is procedural. It is the voice of a man who has decided that the most important asset in his life is the brand of an accused child killer, and that any obstacle to protecting that brand is a logistical problem, not a moral one. Memorize it. You will hear it again in other cases. I am not exaggerating. Once you can recognize that voice, you can never unhear it. Okay, we are landing. Let me give you the takeaways. Takeaway 1. The official trial will handle the official defendant. Stop worrying about whether he goes to jail. He is going to jail or he is not, and that is between him and a jury, and there is not a single thing your screenshot folder is going to do about it. Takeaway 2. The unofficial trial is happening right now on Reddit, on Discord, in comment sections, in TikTok stitches, and in moderator inboxes, and that trial does affect the official trial because jury pools are made of people and people are made of what they read. If you let the cleaners control what the public reads, you have already lost the case you did not realize you were in. Takeaway 3. The villains in this story are not the obvious ones. The villains are the unpaid volunteers who decided in their free time, with no incentive other than fandom, to become accessories after the fact. They are not in handcuffs. I wish I were. They will not be in handcuffs. They will keep moderating other subreddits, other discords, other communities, long after this case is closed. Watch them. Remember the patterns. They will do it again. Takeaway 4. Pattern recognition is now a civic skill. It is no longer optional. If you cannot read a deletion log, if you cannot spot a coordinated talking point, if you cannot tell the difference between a moderator and a curator, you are going to keep getting played by people whose names you will never even learn. The internet did not democratize information. The internet democratized influence. And influence untracked becomes manipulation. Track it. Write it down. Share it. Hold that thought. Pass the list. Pass the list. Pass the list. Last takeaway. To the moderators who are still listening, and I know some of you are because the analytics on my channel do not lie, I am going to tell you what nobody else will. You have one window. The window is now. If you have logs, save them. If you have screenshots, save them. If you have private messages from a manager or a publicist or a family member of the accused, save them. The day the indictment expands, and it might, the discovery process is going to come looking for receipts, and the receipts that will protect you are not the ones you deleted. They are the ones you preserved. Be the person on your team who chose decency over obedience. Be the inside source. Be the name that future writers point to and say, that person was the one who broke ranks. Mark this moment. The alternative is being the footnote in somebody else's chapter. And the footnote in this story is going to be a long one. Alright. I have given you everything I have for tonight. There will be more. There is always more. If you want the rest, I am going live later this week to walk through the documents I did not have time for tonight. I will drop the link in the description and in the community tab. 2 quick housekeeping notes. 1. Do not harass the moderators in their personal lives. I know the temptation is real. I know the names are now public. I know the screenshots make your blood pressure spike. Do not do it. The minute you cross that line, you become the story and they get to play the victim, and the entire month of work we just did gets reframed as a hate campaign. That is the receipt. Discipline. Patience. Receipts. That is the Trinity. That is how this gets won. 2. Donate if you can to the verified family-run support fund for the victim. Not the imitation links. Not the parasite domains that popped up 48 hours after the news broke. The real one, run by the immediate family, is linked in my description and in the pinned comment. Even $5 matters. Even 1 matters. That is the show. That is the receipts. That is the second crime scene. Take care of each other. That is the tell. Do not let the algorithm convince you that this is over just because the news cycle moves on. The news cycle is the cleaner's best friend. The news cycle is the thing they are waiting for. Outlast it. Stay loud. Stay archived. Stay sharp. And the next time you see a moderator badge next to a username, remember tonight, remember the audio, remember the deleted posts, remember the disappeared accounts, remember Sim, remember the rule book, remember the brother, remember the label, remember the calm room service voice of a man complaining that the whistleblowers ruined his cleanup schedule. And decide for yourself which side of that microphone you want your name on when the trial finally starts. I know which side I am on. See you on the live.